The next question, we'll start with Mr. Ortega, and it has to do with the desegregation order and academic achievement. Please share your opinion and the evidence that leads you to that opinion of the degree to which the desegregation order succeeded in raising the academic achievement of students in groups that have historically faced discrimination. And candidates have 2 minutes each for their response.
Well, I just wanted to take the time to talk a little bit more about the accountability, and I think it's kind of connected to this particular question. Times are really tough right now in this down economy, and a lot of folks are struggling to pay their mortgages and to make their car payments, and their spouses are either laid off or they're worried. Times are really tough. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because when we look for the community to support TUSD and to work in partnership with TUSD, we have to find ways to trust that they're being fiscally responsible. And when we have things like out-of-state travel budget being used for board members to travel 2 or 3 times out of state, that does not help people to trust the school district. It does not help. People are really, really hurting, and in some ways it has brought us all together. The DSEG order, the federally mandated programs, we have an expert right next to me, right next to me here, and we have to start to look at ways of serving all our children, but we don't have that equality right now. We don't have that. We haven't reached that time now, and if we don't look at ways to be innovative and work outside the box to try to support programs, we're never going to get there. The post-military plan has to be respected, followed, and depoliticized. We have to be realistic and recognize that we still do have problems in our district when it comes to equality.
Thank you. Mr. Solis.
Well, I think the DSEG plan has pretty much failed, or let me put it differently, the district has failed after having received $65 million a year for at least 10 years annually, and has not made substantial improvements in the kids and in the areas of Tucson in which it was designed. And so you have to wonder, well, how did that happen? Why is it that all that money was given to the district through the taxpayers and it had very little impact? All that money and not much improvement in the quality of the education for the kids. Well, if you look at the way in which they spent the money, which nobody has really done any kind of serious audit of the youth, of where the monies went, how they were spent, what they were spent on. Neither the state nor the federal government has done that. You have to wonder who and when is that ever going to be done? Because how long was that money going to be available? If it is ever taken away, what will happen? Because the districts come to rely on that money. The kids, I don't care what side of town they are, what color they are, they're all like sponges when they're young, and they can all learn anything that anybody can teach them. All we have to do is funnel the resources to the classroom. And if we're having a budget crunch as we are now, as difficult as it is now, we need not take money from the classroom, from the teachers. We need to take it from the administration, from programs that don't directly educate our kids. And if we need to, we can go out into the community. We have a great resource in this community of retired people who have all the skills you could ever want in the classroom. They volunteer at hospitals, they volunteer at the police department. I'm sure they would volunteer at the schools if we needed them. We never asked them. The district doesn't seem to want to get them involved. They don't want to involve this community in a way which would help the kids. And I think we need to do that and look where and see where all that DSEG money went, because it didn't go to the kids.
Thank you. Mr. Oliver.
As someone who has been on the board and we just passed the post-unitary plan, much of the funding that I've seen has gone to magnet programs, individual schools that are DSEG schools, to support increased funding for those schools to be able to offer programs like music, arts, having a librarian, having counselors, Tucson High receives roughly an additional $2,500 per child because that is a magnet program and they offer such a wide variety of different programs. The increase in student achievement as far as relating to the DSEG order is again, the offerings of these programs like OMA and music. You can measure the success of a child after they've participated in these kind of programs by an increase in their learning of sometimes up to 2 years in one school year. These are things that add to a child's overall well-rounded education and something that I support. We have looked at the DSEG order and the DSEG budget, and actually last year returned roughly $5 million of dollars that were being spent in DSEG that should have been spent out of our maintenance and operation budget. So that money has gone back as a result of that. So I think that we need to all be more critical, pay attention very closely, and scrutinize as a governing board where these funds are going. And I think as a governing board member, I have continued to ask those questions and done that.
Thank you. Mr. Hicks.
Okay. Well, I'm not as an expert as Mrs. Solis over here, Mr. Mahama, but I do know that I also believe that the desegregation order, or the desegregation of the district hasn't actually hit everything that it should be hitting. I've seen, you know, the district should be transparent. Everything, all of this stuff should be transparent. It shouldn't be going, okay, this is a desegregated school system. We need to start monitoring more where the money's going, how this is working. This school district, 30 years, we were under a desegregation order. I believe that's one of the longest desegregated orders out there in public schools. What was wrong with this? Why weren't we looking at other school districts like Chicago or New York or Florida? We weren't the only ones that were under a desegregation order. They went through this much faster than we did. I think that, you know, more money, I think if you deal with early childhood development, things like Head Start, first things first, get these kids motivated, help the parents. The parents of some of these students are poor. Like Miguel said, you know, they're in a problem right now. We need to help educate these people in regards to how to teach your kid, how to teach your children how to study, how to read, these types of things. I think programs like that would help with desegregation much more.